Hello, everyone. A very logical day to all of you. And here we are on the eve of independence, August 14, 2023, the first editorial of the Indian Express. Rewriting the code. So let's see what we have in the reading part. There can be little doubt that India's criminal justice system was in dire need of an overhaul. Right. I have not highlighted the word little, but yes, you should understand what the meaning of little doubt is. Little doubt means not much. So there is little doubt that India's criminal justice system was in dire need of an overhaul. The laws that form the composite criminal code have not been substantially touched since they were first enacted in the 19th century. Now, see, if we do not know the meaning of overhaul, we can still understand it by the second line that they have not been substantially touched since they were first enacted in the 19th century. So, since they were enacted, they have not been changed, right? So, overall would mean changing almost completely. And dire need would mean it was an intense need that they definitely needed to be changed. ये होना था. The overall is a complete change. Now, the laws that form the composite criminal code have not been substantially touched since they were first enacted in the 19th century. The center's attempt to hit the reset button on basic penal laws and redefine them is therefore much needed. So the author is justifying that yes, it was needed, right? Dire need, overhaul, and dire need. So the point of the author is that yes, this was needed, the change in the penal system. Fine. Now, on Friday, Union Home Minister Amit Shah introduced three bills in Lok Sabha to replace the Indian Penal Code 1860, the Code of Criminal Procedure 1973, originally enacted in 1898. That means it was again a colonial law only, and the Indian Evidence Act 1872. तो सारे देखो 1800s में बने हुए, right? That means it was in the time of the Britishers. So these colonial era laws, ये हो गया colony उसी को बोलते थे हम. So the colonial laws will be replaced, Shah said, by legislation with an Indian ethos. The Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, that is what it will be called, 2023, to replace the IPC. Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita, that is 2023 for CRPC, and Bharatiya Sakshya Bill 2023. इसमें बिल क्यों लगा दिया फिर? For the Indian Evidence Act have been referring to a standing committee. Now, the decision to refer the bills to a committee and seek the views of the stakeholders, given that the government has deservedly invited charges of giving short shrift to the need for consulting, opposition, and scrutiny of legislation, is welcome. That means it is putting it up for to a committee, referring it to a committee and seeking the views of the stakeholders. इसके लिए तीनों bills आ गए. The changed name is given to you. And the main point of the author is that these three bills or these bills needed to be changed. Yes, right time to be changed also, or rather it is high time they should have been changed. तो overall होना जरूरी था. तो dire need है, much needed है. So need वाला जो word है, that becomes the main point. That yes, they needed to be changed. That is the point. Here it is, dire need of overhaul, and the last point. Okay. Now coming to the second para. The enactment of the new Sanhita is a crucial step in the Modi government's stated project to dispel the colonial shadow. So now they are giving a reason that yes, it is important, it is a crucial step. To dispel is to do away with the colonial shadow. अभी तक जो colonial laws चलते आ रहे हैं, colonial era के laws चलते आ रहे हैं, उसमें से बाहर निकलना, that is to dispel the colonial shadow. To be sure, the imprint of a long ago time has been reflected for far too long in the statute book. For instance, in the law that criminalized homosexuality, on which the courts have also weighed in, the repeal of the sedition law points to a welcome shift in the balance. Here also, he says this is good. a balance struck between individual liberty and national security, but also frames that shifts incompleteness. जहां पे उसने बट बोल दिया, इसका मतलब थोड़ा तो कॉन्ट्रडिक्शन है ही सही. ठीक है. तो रिपील ऑफ द सेडिशन लॉज a positive thing. Negative उसमें क्या, that this shift is incompleteness, it is incomplete. So राजद्रोह को completely हम repeal कर रहे हैं. This is what they said. यहाँ लोकतंत्र है, सबको बोलने का अधिकार है, वो मिनिस्टर शाह said. But the proposed संहिता contains a provision that penalizes. किसे punishment मिलेगी? Endangering sovereignty, unity and integrity of India. ठीक है, तो जिसके कुछ बोलने से इंडिया की सॉवरेंटी, यूनिटी और इंटेग्रिटी पे फर्क पड़ेगा, राइट, दैट विल बी कंसिडर्ड एज द ब्रीच ऑफ लॉ. नाउ विदाउट कॉलिंग इट सेडिशन, it expands its definition, including aiding through financial means and subversive activities and encouraging feelings of separatist activities. So, going forward, other aspects of the new criminalization will need to be carefully debated. Introduction of the deceitful promise to marry as a criminal offense, for instance. So now a deceitful promise to marry, usko bhi criminal offense manenge. But all these things need to be debated. होता क्या है कि the government, whatever bill they come, there has to be um, a deliberation on it or discussion on it. It has to be debated and then they need to be finalized. So this is what the author's point is, that it needs to be carefully debated. Right? The first paragraph again he says that it is a crucial step. That means important है. उसके पहले वाले paragraph में what was the point? That it was the need, right? So it is needed. Then it is crucial. And then what is required? A debate. A careful debate is required. So 3 points we are done with. Then the insertion of community service as an alternate form of punishment could prevent more under trials languishing in jails. तो कितने आराम से रहते हैं जिंदगी जेल में. ठीक है. तो what will be added here is community service. ये करना पड़ेगा उनको. So recognition of murder by a mob on ethnic, caste and communal lines was also needed. That means if a mob comes and kills someone, ये आजकल जो बहुत होता है, इकट्ठे लोग हो गए और मार दिया किसी को, तो इसे भी recognize किया गया है. तो this is again, as the author said, it was needed. But more must be done to minimize vagueness and looseness of definitions. This is another sub point that he has given, that everything that has been decided is good, very good. But then what is required is careful debate. उसने कहा था. फिर वापस से उसने बट कर दिया. More must be done to minimize vagueness and looseness. So in the previous paragraph also when he was talking about sedition, तो उन्होंने कहा सेडिशन हम हटा दे रहे हैं लॉ, लेकिन उसके बाद उसने बहुत सारी चीजें यूनिटी, इंटीग्रिटी और उस पे सॉवरेंटी पे ऐड कर ली कि अगर ये प्रॉब्लम में आ जाती है तो देन इट विल बी कंसिडर्ड एज अ ब्रीच ऑफ लॉ. Right, here also he is saying the same thing, that if these things are needed, very well, very good, but then they need to minimize the vagueness. So minimize the vagueness का मतलब क्या हुआ? ये जो looseness है या vagueness है, या पता नहीं कि कैसे भी misinterpret हो सकता है ना वो. Like people can find loopholes there, people can circumvent them, right? So they need to understand the loopholes there and to bring the code more fully in step with changes in society and advent of new technology. Now, while the argument for a modern nation to erase the colonial legacy of treating the citizen as a subject is compelling, this argument, when they say that a modern nation है तो colonial legacy हमें हटानी पड़ेगी, erase करनी पड़ेगी. So this argument is okay, fine, right? Compelling the blame for misuse of laws cannot be solely placed at the door of the long departed colonial power. So treating the citizen as a subject is compelling the blame for misuse of laws, right? That means why are the laws being misused? Because they are colonial laws or because they have been long, uh, in the past they have been set, they have been made. हम इसलिए हमें changes लाने हैं क्योंकि उसको misuse हो रहा है. this cannot be said, or that only the colonial power was the reason of why this law or these laws have been misused. You cannot blame them. At their core, due process and personal liberty are inviolable human rights, and the threats to them flow as much from the law or books as from congealed structural and institutional realities. At the core का मतलब होता है उसका जो रूट लेवल है, जो बेस है, जो की फिगर है, ठीक है, उसे कोर कहते हैं, कोर पॉइंट ऐसे ही होता है. So what is required is the due process and personal liberty. They are inviolable human rights. Threats to them, that means threats to the पर्सनल लिबर्टी, राइट. तो लॉ की बुक से भी आ जाता है, लेकिन स्ट्रक्चरल एंड इंस्टीट्यूशनल रियलिटीज भी होती हैं ये. नाउ दीज मेक द क्रिमिनल जस्टिस सिस्टम मोर प्यूनिटिव देन जस्ट. If these are the structural and institutional realities, then such systems or the breach of these things will bring about punishment, right? So it brings about punishment, and they are not just. Just means fair. तो इसे फेयर नहीं होते हैं, ये पनिश कर देते हैं. Now, the new bills will hopefully be thoroughly and rigorously debated. Again, the author's point, right? What he said earlier also, he said that they have to be debated in the parliament. But it will take more steps in this direction before the intent of any such reform to put the citizen at the center to bring criminal law in line with the constitutional vision reaches the आम औरत. तो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल विजन हम आम आदमी बोलते हैं, लेकिन आम औरत पे क्यों? बिकॉज नाउ दे नीड टू फोकस ऑन others also. So here comes the main point now. It will take more steps and bring the code more fully in step with changes in the society. So the main idea we have is a much needed shift. It was given correctly, और बट करके उसने बहुत सारी चीजें करी, तो it raises questions. ये हो गया सेकंड में. And third point में, third paragraph में, it must be debated rigorously. So we have all 1, 2, and 3 main ideas, main points there. To combine, give the, here we have the question, the words. तो vocabulary part देखते हैं. So composite is complex or combined. I've written it today for you. Substantially is extensively, considerably, substantively. Ethos is the spirit or the code or the tenet or the principle. एक वो जो रहता है, what they are following. Crucial is vital, significant, critical. Shift is like confession. ठीक है, acquittance हो जाता है, we admit that we've done wrong, or absolution जो माफी मिल जाती है. Right. Imprint is print, stamp, or mark. Subversive is destabilizing, seditious. Insertion, inclusion, addition. Languishing, wasting, being lazy, deteriorating. Aram se betna. That is languishing in the jail. Inviolable is firm, unbreakable, or sacrosanct. Something that cannot be broken. Congealed is solid, hard. Punitive, as we said, punishing. तो उसके लिए दो better words आ जाते हैं, retributory and corrective. Rigorously is carefully, meticulously. So those who know these words, then those who do not know the words, they can write them down. Those who know and have written them earlier can also just go through the notebook that you have made so as to revise these words. And that is how you would be doing words. So today I've given you 2 words to read also. तो words हो जाता है, हमारी reading हो जाती है, और अब ये reading articles. Economic liberalism पढ़ सकते हो और economic individualism पढ़ सकते हो. So that makes, I think so, 39 and 40. Continuing from the previous month. So that's all for today. Thank you and have a very logical day ahead.